camp was a sad one.
It was a very angry, resigned camp.
If the camper was not happy, the camper needed to finish the camping trip. And the camper was gonna get it done, but he was not smiling.
The camper woke up on the wrong side of the sleeping bag. His shoulder was a little stiff. His wife was taking up too much space.
Did I ever tell you about the fucking worst campsite I ever camped at?
Probably, but tell me
Oh
again.
my god, so my cousin decided to invite me to a Christian music festival called Purple Door, which was out in outsource you-ish? Central Pennsylvania. And we went with my soon-to-be cousin-in-law, my cousin's sister's then fiance. And the three of us went, and we enjoyed, we drove up in the day, and we enjoyed the first day of the festival. And then my cousin says, all right, now we're going to go camp out for the night. And he had told me we'd be camping, so I brought a sleeping bag and a pillow. They did not tell me anything about the camping site, in that it was literally, we're just going to go in the woods behind the high school.
Now, was this, supposed to be a place people camped?
No. And I didn't bring a mat or anything, and they didn't bring a spare for me, thinking I had camped, and I have camped before, on campgrounds, not on gravel.
Oh boy.
One of the worst nights of sleep I ever had. And then day 2 of the festival.
Hooray!
Which was headlined by a band I didn't want to see, or I did want to see, but we left early, I didn't get to see them.
That sucks.
Yeah, that was kind of... I found Seabird at that show.
You've told me that before, but
We knew each other when this happened. This was 2010. This was the summer we met. I think it was in the fall.
Yes, because you did that, because you also did RevGen?
RevGen was 2 weeks later.
Yeah, because you,
And I memorized the fucking Seabird album by the time I saw them there. And then got to meet them.
Because I thought you were so interesting and fun because you were going to 2 music festivals in a month.
Well, you learned the hard way that I'm not interesting and fun. In fact, the least interesting and fun thing about me is this brand new episode of Soon to Be a Major Motion Podcast. The podcast where we watch movies that are based on books and read books that are turned into movies. I am Billy Beck.
I am Codie Beck.
And we are your captains of this ship through the seas of Scorsese as we wrap up our season on old Marty Scorsese.
You know, I think this is going to be probably a more interesting episode than you expect. I read 2 different versions of the introduction to this book.
Like the opening chapters or an introduction by Edith Wharton?
Okay, so first of all, I did actually get 2 copies of the book because they might be separate editions, because apparently between when she originally published it in the magazines and when it was released as a novel and then the second edition, she made extensive revisions between all 3.
So if you stumbled on this podcast and did not read the title, we are of course talking about Edith Wharton's novel, The Age of Innocence.
One of the arguably best, critics and the literary establishment considers it one of the great American novels. It's one of the only, 5 by women that are on that fucking list.
And if the screenplay was as close to the text as I feel like it probably was, I get it.
It's very dense.
Yeah.
But no, I actually grabbed 2 different editions. I grabbed the Barnes & Noble Classic, which is
coffee shop inside?
The copyright for the introduction specifically was 96. And the other edition that I have is the Collier Books edition with an introduction by R.W.B. Lewis, and that introduction was from 1968.
Ew.
Yeah. But the text of this, both of them have little disclaimers that are this is based on the text from 1920, the second edition. So it may be different from prior editions, but it is considered the best version of the novel by the author.
I was gonna say, if you didn't get a stack of magazines from the library, I don't think you're reading the first edition.
Yes.
There was definitely an edit between.
Yes. Now I'm curious though, because the way they describe it is possible entire chapters were added later.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, if you gotta flesh some things out.
Yeah, like, I'm just curious if it's a Clockwork Orange situation where, the final chapter that was omitted from the American version completely changes the fucking novel.
The final chapter where he realizes he was a shitty kid and grows up? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of changes that whole dystopian novel if you get rid of that chapter.
But that's a whole different episode of this of this podcast.
Yes.
I did just watch that movie, like, last weekend, but that's besides the point.
I think that's why I was thinking of it.
Yeah. I did watch a different movie, though. I watched a little movie last night called, you're not going to believe this, it's called The Age of Innocence.
Wild coincidence. Now, is there any connection?
Well, in the opening credits, it said, based upon the novel, which I realized, based upon a podcast, would probably be a way better title for this show than the one we came up with 2 years ago, but fuck it, we ball.
I was going to say, listen, if Let's Talk About Myths, baby, can still keep that title, we're keeping our fucking title. Our unwieldy-ass title.
But no, it said, based upon a novel by Edith Wharton.
Do you like how I cleverly avoided you talking about my birthday by fucking jumping right into the novel?
See, you laugh, but we're gonna talk about your birthday next week anyway. But before we do that, you want to watch a trailer?
I want you to talk to me about May. Are you very much in love with her?
As much as a man can be.
Do you think there's a limit?
In a time of tradition, in a place of privilege, Newland Archer lived his life by the rules of his society.
I want everybody to know
What?
that we're engaged.
Until he met a woman who lived by her own rules.
I think they're all a little angry with me for setting up for myself.
I hear she means to get a divorce.
She made an awful marriage, but that doesn't make her an outcast. I came to see what you were running away from.
All I really want is to feel cared for and safe.
Is there someone else?
We should remember marriage is marriage, and Ellen is still a wife.
When can I see you?
I can't be your wife, Newland. Is it your idea I should live with you as your mistress?
You gave me my first glimpse of a real life. And then you asked me to carry on with a false one. No one can endure that.
I'm enduring it.
Everybody knows.
Have you considered the consequences?
What the hell does that mean, sir?
From the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel,
Shall I come to you?
Come to me.
Columbia Pictures is proud to present Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, Winona Ryder.
They never knew what it meant to be tempted, but you did.
The Age of Innocence, a Martin Scorsese picture.
In an era of New York high society, where the wealthy have nothing but money and gossip, freshly engaged Newland Archer begins an emotional affair with his fiance's cousin. As the affair evolves after his marriage, he learns that there are no secrets in this society, and his wife wins the game. That is high society. That's pretty much how that goes, yeah?
Yeah. So I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Time frames. Is it clear what the time frame is in, like, how long the quote-unquote affair lasts at the beginning?
For the most part, I'm not sure if this is something he changed either. So, from when he meets the Countess till his marriage is about, like, it feels like 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
It's pretty quick. And then from his marriage to her announcing her pregnancy.
Yeah, roughly.
Is less than a year.
Okay.
Because she still he makes it a point that it's customary for women to wear their wedding dresses out in public for the first year, and this is the first time she chose to wear it. So it's still within a year, but it's like a specific thing, and then that's what, like, leads to the pregnancy reveal. So
And at the end, does it mention how long it's been since his wife has passed away?
Oh, I don't remember. I know it's like 25 years from the affair, roughly. No, it's gotta be longer in the movie. Because it's the 1870s. But there's like cars in Europe.
So
maybe 30 years. But it's not, it's clear that it's been a time and that he's lived a life. But it's not like hard specific.
Okay. So in the novel, from the novel starting to the end of the affair, the pregnancy announcement is 2 years.
Okay.
And from when he goes on the trip with his son, like prior to his son getting married, when they go to Europe, it's been 2 years since his wife has passed away.
Okay.
So it's interesting that she bookends the novel with that 2 year time frame.
Huh. I wonder if Scodardi didn't think that was important.
And then
or if I just missed it.
The other question that I had was, are there allusions made to his prior affair with a married woman?
The only thing that is alluded to is when he visits May in Florida, and she expresses her fear that he still loves another woman, and she mentions a woman from years prior that... And then he laughs it off like, oh, God, no, not her. You don't have to worry about her. No, I don't talk to her anymore.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if they would completely cut that or not, because it is kind of important. Because the whole point of this book is it is a both loving and vicious satire of New York high society at this time by someone who experienced this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more or less, you can take the view that this was the point of view of Edith Wharton, the author, because she actually had an engagement prior to her husband, the one that she ended up divorcing in 1912, or maybe 1907. Either way, she divorced him at some point. But she had a prior engagement that a lot of people think this is alluding to.
Ah.
And basically that she thinks that, to an extent, Newland Archer is the what if of her life.
And she would be the Countess Orlowski?
Olenski, yes.
Olenski,
yeah,
sorry.
basically
Ellen.
Yes. Basically Ellen is what she became, the kind of European sophisticated author, and she also represents kind of to an extent art and the artistic world, versus Newland Archer, who was that rigid societal expectations.
Yeah.
And also kind of a huge fucking coward.
Yeah, he's a dick. Some of the things that are said. So the film does narration. Is the book from anyone's specific perspective? How is that done?
It's more or less third person limited from Newland's perspective.
Okay.
But you as the audience are meant to pick up on things before Newland does, because he's fucking stupid.
Yeah. So the film has an unnamed narrator. That is an older woman's voice. And it's not any... Oh, did I not grab who the actress is? Joanne Woodward. So the narrator was played by Joanne Woodward, who was not any other character in the movie. She's just the narrator. And I took her to be older Ellen telling the story.
Okay.
Which makes narrator lines of things that... I keep wanting to call him Newland. Things that Newland thought implies that he told Ellen these things and she's telling us. Things like when the scene in Florida, when he tells May, like, oh, there's no one else, and she like hugs him. The narrator says, he could feel her dropping back to an inexpressive girlishness. Her conscience has been eased of its burden. It was wonderful, he thought, how such depths of feeling could coexist with such an absence of imagination.
Yes.
Just fucking brutal shit. What a dick.
Over and over again, he makes allusions to his wife. Her name is escaping me. May.
Such a generic ass name.
He makes allusions to May being like Diana, aka Artemis, and how she's like beautiful and statuesque and incredibly pretty, and everyone should be like, everyone is jealous of how attractive she is, and she's super talented, but she's also like, there's a lot of like weird patriarchal bullshit when he's thinking about her, where he's like, oh, well, I'll get to guide her into experiencing this poetry for the first time because she won't have read it, and I'll get to teach her and shape her own opinions. And then, like, later, after they're married, he talks about how he started reading histories because she wanted him to read poetry aloud, and he didn't like her opinions.
That's
it
in the movie.
ruined his enjoyment.
That's in the movie, yeah.
He's such a dick to her. And all she does is care about him.
It's weird because, like, he's also the one who fucking decries the societal norms of...
But he's too weak to go against them in any meaningful way.
Exactly, because he knows it's safe. And he knows his place there.
There's a reason I chose the body of a middle-aged white man. I can only fail up.
Yeah? And especially with how patriarchal the society is. Like, the drama in the first act is that the society doesn't want to let Ellen in because her husband cheated on her and she may have also cheated. I mean, we know that she did, but they don't.
It's actually never totally clear. The only person, of course, because you're reading it through the eyes of Newland, or you're seeing through the eyes of Newland, he immediately assumes that she was fucking the secretary, quote-unquote secretary. But he meets the secretary and really likes him before he knows who he is.
Yeah.
And it's also pretty clear that they may not have had any sort of sexual relationship.
The thing is...
Considering that he's used as a go-between later.
The thing is, so much of the story, and because of the setting in society, so much is told through subtext. I had to remind myself while I'm... watching this as an autistic is hard. Because I had to remind myself so many times, like, yes, read into that more. It's okay to read into that thing that they said, because they meant the thing that you're reading into. So, you have to, like, allow yourself to do that.
The thing that is fascinating to me is that when you're first introduced to May, Newland and May are, like, exchanging glances across a theater, and he's reading in all these shades of meaning, and, like, how they understand each other perfectly. And he talks about how that's his very favorite thing about her. And then his thing that he loves about Countess Olenska, about Ellen, is that she's so honest and refreshing and blunt. Pick a fucking lane, bro. You don't get both.
See, you don't have a male brain. And honestly, I need to have a talk with the guy crew about how Edith found this shit out to write this. But a man will make up any excuse, so many contradictory excuse, if penis get hard.
Yeah.
If new girl make penis hard, you will come up with any reason to justify spending more time with her. Oh, she's more blunt than my wife. Penis hard.
It's so funny because, like, this whole time where he's like, I have these enlightened ideals and I think that women should be free as men are. And then in the end, he's
free to fuck me.
He just wants to trap her into the same mistress arrangement because it doesn't fucking occur to him that, oh, convincing her to stay married to her husband is a bad thing for me and me specifically when I want to fuck her.
Yeah, he's a fucking fool. Also, dude who cares so much about the freedom of women says about his own wife, how can you emancipate something that does not know it is not free? He thinks he's trapping her in jail, and she's locking that shit down.
Yes.
And he has no fucking idea.
He is the dumbest person in his society, besides probably his mom and sister, because it takes him so long to realize, oh, all of these secret meetings that I'm having with Ellen are not actually fucking secret. I'm a goddamn moron.
I picked up on that so fucking fast watching the movie, because every scene, Scorsese made sure to include someone who knows he's there. Either a person like who's a helper, or maid, servant, driver, whatever. 3 fucking times Julius Beaufort shows up with flowers while he's there alone in her cabin.
It is so funny how he's so angry at Julius Beaufort for doing the same thing he is.
Yeah. I think that's the point. And I think that's the kind of shit that, to get into the film a little bit more, that's the shit that attracted Scorsese to this novel. Like, I was so fascinated to see this come up because of its source material and knowing what he's famous for. So, like when you think of Martin Scorsese, you think of The Departed, you think of Goodfellas, You think of how long The Irishman is, right? You think of his New York crime movies. You think of toxic masculinity. And when you watch this, you start to realize that all of that is here.
It is.
Scorsese, as we've discussed, he loves him some history. He's like, all right, I'm gonna film fucking New York in the 1870s. You want fucking toxic ass men? Here's a society based around how much of an advantage men have. This is pre-suffragettes, pre-women's right to vote. Yep. Women were barely people then.
I was gonna say the novel is still even pre or just post white women getting the right to vote in the U.S.
Yeah, like you want guilt? How much guilt does he carry throughout the rest of his life that he kind of absolves himself of in the end over this situation? Because he has to grow up. The end of this movie is him growing the fuck up and leaving a situation he shouldn't be in.
Okay, how does the movie end?
Okay, so his kid Ted. Why are you laughing?
Just Ted.
It's his name. His name is Ted. I assume it's short for Theodore, does it say?
I think it's slightly different.
Oh, is it different?
His name is Dallas.
So Ted. Ted's like, yo, Pops, before I get married, let's go to Paris. And Dad's like, yeah, fucking alright. Mom's dead, other kids are out and about, whatever. So he and his kid go gallivanting around Paris, and then Ted is like, alright, so the reason I brought you here is because Ellen's over there. I came to take you to see her. Because when Mom was dying, she said something poignant. I don't remember the exact words.
When I asked him to, he gave up the thing he wanted most.
And then I didn't ask. Or she didn't ask.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. So they get to the place, and he looks up and he sees... do they do the thing earlier when he goes to the beach and she's looking out at the ocean and doesn't turn around?
Yes, because he's a dumb bitch.
So he mirrors that in this last scene, where he goes and he picks out which window is hers and sets Ted up, and then he just waits looking at the window. Because he knows that she knows he's there, and if she wants to see him, she'll peek out the window. And then the servant comes and closes the window, and he's like, okay, just like she didn't look back at the lighthouse, she's not looking back now, it's over. And then he just gets up and walks away.
Okay, fascinating. That's a fascinating interpretation of it.
Okay, what happens in the book?
Basically that same thing.
Oh.
But reading it, it's him failing again.
Oh.
Because the way that he thinks about it to himself, he's like, I'm only 57. We can't have the romance that I wanted or imagined, but we could still be friends. We could still have a relationship that is built on mutual accountability. But what he does is while he's sitting there waiting, he basically thinks about the fact that her life is so much bigger than his, and the fact that he spent so long polishing their, 2 kisses, that he's like, oh, but she doesn't want to see me. And he just fucking walks back to his hotel alone when the butler closes the curtains. And to me, that reads as him being a coward again.
I could read that into it, because there is the scene after, when she asks him about that day at the beach, why didn't you come get me? Yes. And he says the thing about, I was going to see if you'd turn around, and if not, I wasn't going to. And she was kind of regretful that he didn't. Because
his whole deal is I would know if she were behind me, so she doesn't know I'm here, so if she turns around, that's when I'll go see her. And then when he talks to her about it later, she's like, yeah, I fucking knew you were there. I was waiting for you to approach me, motherfucker.
Yeah, and he makes the same mistake again.
Yes.
He could still have... I read it as more like he was growing... Because the way I read the end, he matures. There's a line in the narration during the montage of him having kids and them growing up and marrying off and all that, where the narrator says, without him recognizing it, his life had changed and it wasn't a masquerade anymore. He wasn't...
not in the book.
I can't remember the exact line of dialogue, but it hinted to me at least that he had grown up. And then he's left with this choice to go back and, rekindle an old flame, and goes, no, I'm past this, and moves on. But I could also see the other interpretation from the film as well. It's just not as... everything's in subtext in this movie. It's not as, concrete. Unlike... Sorry, I just watched Young Frankenstein, and, the first act, every joke is punctuated by Igor looking at the camera and explaining the joke.
Yeah, I noticed that with the...
It's, fucking polar opposite with Age of Innocence. You gotta kind of think. You can't just ask AI about it. You got to use your human emotions to figure this one out.
So, fun fact, this was planned for a stage. They were trying to get a stage performance of this as early as 1921.
Oh, God, how?
It didn't happen until 1927, but in the introduction to the Collier Books one, there's a section where she says, Miss Wharton remarked to her sister-in-law in 1921 during discussions about a possible dramatization that she knew everything about the world of the novel and went on to prove it by severe and detailed instructions relating to accuracy in the stage handling of social habits and rituals, manner of speech and dress, the gardenia in the lapel, the proper time for after-dinner calls, and the proper liquids to serve the guests. The Age of Innocence is further testimony to Edith Wharton's remarkably fresh and abundant memory of upper-middle-class New York society.
So
she and Martin would have gotten along real fucking well.
So a dramaturg need to go prove that they knew fucking high society to get that play produced while Edith was alive?
Pretty much.
I think Scorsese, they would have gotten along, or he feared her ghost. Because Scorsese hired an art history major who worked for 2 fucking years and put together 25 volumes of source material for the art direction, production design, costumes, and dialogue of this film.
The last novel that I have read for this pod that was so dense with references was fucking the Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
It's so dense, and there's in-jokes, and it's one of those things where, like, you know how we live in LA and we will watch movies or TV shows that are supposed to take place in LA, and there'll be, like, jokes, like Zootopia, it's pronounced Tahunga.
Yeah.
We both cackled at that.
Yeah.
Apparently, some of these characters are people from her own life that she was satirizing, like, her relatives.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So, it goes into more detail again in the introduction, but basically, like, this novel is something that if you read in 1920 and you were part of New York high society, you knew that she was putting veiled fucking references. It was very, like, I appreciate that reference.
It was like how children today will listen to a Taylor Swift song and pour through every line of every lyric to see which ex-boyfriend she's talking about here.
Yes.
It's the same, because that's what they had then.
Yes.
This was released as a series of magazine fucking chapters.
Yeah, 4 chunks.
4? Oh, it was only 4?
It was only 4.
But still, serialized. This was like, this was gossip.
Yes.
As well as a novel.
And the thing that's, like, extra interesting about that is the fact that she was writing this in the 1900s, like the 10s to 20s. And it's about the 1870s, which is when, you know, she was coming up. She would have just broken out of her marriage, because I don't totally remember, it's either 1907 or 1912 when she did finally get divorced. And she had been living overseas with her husband at that point for like a decade already. But then all of a sudden, she's free of her husband, she's free of the conventions of the world she grew up in, and she immediately goes, "Look what you did to me, you motherfuckers!"
Yeah, and that's something that, like, I really... One of the things I wanted to talk about today was how do women survive in this extreme patriarchy? This, like... Because we half joke, half serious complain about the patriarchy now. And there are still some things that need to be taken care of. Like, medicine? Maybe we should know more about how women feel pain and how their bodies work, instead of just... But anyway.
Fun fact, they started testing menstrual products with actual blood in the last 3 years.
Oh, that's gonna... With the current administration, that's gonna stop real quick. Oh, you're lucky you're getting menstrual products at all, dear.
Free bleed.
Oh, gross. God damn it. But yeah, like, watching this movie last night, I'm like, God damn, shit was hard for women. Because, like, Ellen's husband... I don't have an answer. You should have an answer for that, Siri, motherfucker. But Ellen's husband, the Count, known philanderer. But the hint of a maybe with her, and she is shunned.
Yes.
And the only reason he realizes, that Newland realizes that people in society know that he has a thing going with Ellen, is because all of a sudden they're nice to her. because he's there? Everyone knows, and it's like, we better be nice to Ellen because, Newland is a guy. Like,
So,
what?
His realization in the book is a bit different because he realizes everyone knows that, or everyone considers him a lover of hers. And the only reason that they're allowed to attend this party together, which is her going away party, is because she's fucking leaving.
Yeah. It's the amount of fucking slack this generic white bread man is given.
Yes.
And his fucking blatant fucking lies. The fucking patent thing? Is that in the book or is that a Scorsese?
Yes.
What the fuck, dude? She literally just calls him out without actively calling him out.
Yes.
And he's like, oh good, I got away with another lie. Like, you fucking fool.
It's fascinating how all of his behavior he hates when other people do, but then immediately when it suits him, he does it himself.
Yep, because it's acceptable in society.
Yes. He's such a bitch. When I finished it, I had that feeling of like bittersweet unsettledness that it took me a while to figure out where it was from or what it was similar to. And I realized it's the same kind of catharsis I see after a fucking horror movie. This book is a horror movie. It is a man wasting his life in the ideal and the pursuit of a woman that he has built up on a pedestal in his mind, and he knows that the real woman will never live up to it, and that's why he's such a chicken shit.
Yeah.
Because he's unsatisfied in his own life, with his own rules and his own fucking moral failings, that he's just like, gonna make a woman's problem.
Like, it was maybe an hour into the movie, I don't know if you remember me yelling this, but I was just like, you're both rich! Just fucking leave!
Yes, I do
Just go to a different city! It's the 1870s! They're not gonna be able to find you if you change your name!
That was the thing that was so great, is that he mentions that. And he's like, I'm gonna go to Japan with her! And she is the one that's like, I've seen people do that before. It doesn't fucking change, because the problem is you. And of course, that's the implication of her statement, is because the problem isn't with society, the problem is with you, because you've internalized all of society's messaging.
Yeah.
And the fact that everyone around him gets this except him?
Yeah, it's a little 1984 with Winston and what's-her-face.
Oh god, yeah.
It's a little bit that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the woman who sees clear, to an extent, clearly what the society is and what you have to do, and he both adores and hates her for it.
Like the man hears a woman say something that he agrees with, and instead of, like, progressing the thought, he's just like, she is perfect, I must have her. And that is his only thought.
It's fucking Manic Pixie Dream Girl shit.
It's what happens when you're not allowed to have sex before marriage. He's just thinking with his dick for years.
Can we talk about the fact that this affair goes on for 2 years, and literally all they do is hold hands at a museum, kiss twice, once maybe by accident? He kisses her hand, and I think she falls into him because the fucking carriage moves.
Another point when I was yelling at the screen last night is when they're in the carriage and he's like slowly taking off her glove for skin to skin. And I'm like, oh yeah, take it off, baby. Ooh, show me that wrist. Ow!
This is why Americans are so fucking repressed. We couldn't even see ankles because men were horny for table legs. That's a thing.
God bless the free love movement.
So, the other thing, I said that I had read this before. I realized, like, 75% of the way through it, I had not read it before.
How do you go 75% through this fucking story?
So, there's another book that was published in 1899, and it is called The Awakening by Kate Chopin. It is a similar story of a woman going through a divorce and having an affair with a fashionable partner, but it is a lot shorter, and it's kind of from her point of view. So it was at the point where I was like 75% of the way through that I was like, So we're not actually ever gonna get the female point of view here. Maybe I didn't read this before. And also I was real confused because, like, in The Awakening, she has kids that are talked about. And I was like, when are the kids gonna show up?
Oh, dear.
Like, I thought that was the thing where the horrible letter where he has threatening accusations. I thought that it was gonna be that he was gonna keep her kids from her.
Oh.
So that's why I was like, what the fuck? What is happening?
Do we ever find out what those, like, credible accusations are in the letter?
No, and I believe only Newland thinks they're credible. Because he assumes...
He's a fucking idiot.
Because he assumes that if she ran away with a dude, obviously she was fucking that dude. When really she was just like, no, he was getting me the fuck out of there and I'm grateful to him for that.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation of it, is I'm sure that she fucked someone that wasn't her husband. It was not the person that she escaped with.
Right. I'm just imagining, like, what inane, like, 19th century bullshit could it be? Like, she dared to ask me to put it in the butt. Like, something completely consensual between married partners, but if the world knew.
I mean, considering that it's a big deal that she goes to a party with someone who is of a social class that is slightly lower on a Sunday?
The Lord's Day.
I think it's a Sunday. It might be a Saturday. They keep...
The other Lord's Day.
They don't talk about days of the week. He just talks about, like, events that happen on a weekly basis.
Oh, yeah, because these are fucking loaded. These people don't work. Monday through Saturday doesn't matter to them. You just gotta know which day you go to church.
He does work, though.
Oh, that's right. He's a lawyer. We just don't care.
But he doesn't do anything in the office. He literally sits there like, I'm not doing shit.
No one does anything in this except for the servants in the background of the movie. The only thing the wealthy do in this fucking movie are eat and gossip.
Now, we talked about Julius Beaufort.
Yeah.
First of all, he's older in the novel. I'm assuming he's in the movie they made him of an age with...
He seems like a bit older.
Okay.
Like, they wouldn't have been in high school together, but they might have some mutual friends through siblings.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So...
Well, mutual friends through siblings is this entire society, isn't it?
Yes.
Christ. It's fucking high school. They just kept high school going until they died because they had the money to. Fucking losers.
So my interpretation is that he's in his, like, 40s to 50s in the book. I don't know if it's made explicit that he's that much older, but that's the vibe that I get.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Is his actual crime in the book or in the movie? Do they talk about what he does?
They talk about, like, he fucks something up with the finances and, like, everyone's losing money because of his fucking bullshit.
So he's a banker, and basically he knows that the bank is insolvent, but he basically lies so that deposits keep coming in for an additional day, and then the fucking second tower gets hit, the second shoe drops, and it's revealed
September 11th, 1875. The most devastating day in New York for years.
I think it is legitimately in the fall when this happens. So he ends up, like, basically absconding with all these people's money, and because he's so intimately connected with all of the other people, they do all lose money because of him, because they all fucking lent and borrowed, etc.
They all have, like, their money in his investments.
So what ends up happening with him is he, like, I think his wife dies, like, at some point in the nebulous 25 years. His wife dies, and he fucks off with the lady that he's been having an open affair with for years.
And that's the girl that Ted marries.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he marries her, they have a daughter, and they, like, travel around the world, and he's in fucking Buenos Aires, the haven of all criminals.
Nothing bad ever happens in Argentina.
So both of her parents die when she's 18, and then she appears magically in New York, and it's basically it is Edith Wharton going, look at how what a difference fucking 40 years makes, because this bitch showed up in the 1900s and everyone's like, oh, she's adorable and beautiful and accomplished. Whereas Ellen Olenska was like, no, fuck this bitch. She left her husband. I I have a lot of opinions and feelings.
Yes, you do. That's right. That's why we have a podcast, so you can get them out. So,
the other thing that I wanted to say about The Awakening was that it is very similar thematically, and it's also, it is shorter, it's more lyrical, but it's dealing with the same subject, which is fascinating considering that this book came out in 1920, so I'm almost positive that Edith Wharton would have read it.
Probably. If she is what Ellen was, absolutely. She would have come across it.
Because she also was, like, buddies with Henry James through her husband. I know him best for Turn of the Screw.
Oh, fucking Turn of the Screw. That's one we need to do. Because there have been a lot of adaptations of that. Anyway.
I was going to say, there was a really good one a couple years ago. Yeah, so there's allusions to his work all throughout as basically like a little Easter egg for her bestie. But the thing that I also find interesting is, like Portrait of Dorian Gray, Picture of Dorian Gray, if this were less tragic, it would be considered a comedy of manners. Like, it's on par with most of Oscar Wilde's plays.
Yeah. Like, there were definitely moments of humor in this.
Yeah, like, it's very clear that, like, Oscar Wilde is doing, in a comedic way, the same satire of British shit that she's doing of American with this. And it's just interesting that, like, there's all this similar, this is all stuff that, like, people who are in the society at the time are like, this is, you guys realize this is ass, right? Like, this is real dumb.
Like, it's a step away from farce, almost.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you changed the last scene of the movie and ran it at 1.5 speed, it's just farce.
Yes! It's 100%.
It's...
Like, if Newland Archer had a crumb of self... Oh, God, who's the shitty guy from Dorian Gray? I know that's not helpful.
Oh, jeez, they were all shit.
Not Dorian, the guy that basically ruins his life.
Bro, I barely remember that we covered that.
But he is basically Newland Archer with a crumb of, like, brain cell.
Yeah. Fucking Newland Archer.
One of the introductions, I believe, to the 96 introduction, talks about how you've got May as Diana, Artemis. So you then have, as additional Greek counterparts, you've got Paris and Helen. Except this Paris fucking sucks. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but basically this Paris fucking sucks. Does not do his job at all or make any correct decisions.
Yeah.
I believe the introduction says something to the effect of, instead of shooting Achilles in the heel and taking down this terrifying warrior, he mostly just manages to shoot himself in the foot.
He's so fucking dumb.
He's the worst.
He's just so dumb.
He's so whiny and self-indulgent.
He's so dumb when he realizes that he got by his wife. He's almost proud of her for outsmarting him because he doesn't believe that she can.
Yes. 100%.
Fucking awesome.
So, something that I noticed from the trailer.
Yes.
Is that Ellen has blonde hair.
Okay.
And May has dark hair. It is the opposite in the book, which, of course, fashions of the times, etc.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting that that choice was made. So let's talk about the...
So, I was thinking about this actually roughly 2.5 hours ago when I was watching Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
Because in Young Frankenstein, Frederick Frankenstein is engaged to a brunette lady, and over the course of the film, he is tempted by a blonde woman. And I feel like that's just a film language thing that you do, is blonde stands out, especially in the black and white times.
Yeah.
So you would cast the blonde woman to be the centerpiece, the temptress, something because she draws the eye so well on film, and that just kind of advanced throughout time. And also, when you cast who you cast in those roles, Winona Ryder is perfect for that role, except her hair color. And Michelle Pfeiffer is perfect for that role, except her hair color. Still different. Keep it. Why have them dye their hair? That'll be just too distracting.
Yeah, why have them both dye their hair when you can just use film language?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about, like, I don't know when the actual shift was, but, like, blonde going from purity to temptress. And it's before the obvious point in, like, you know, the 40s. But yeah, there's a whole fucking thing about when Blonde became not the good
pure.
guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it was nothing more devious than that. I don't think he was trying to say anything more.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Than just, I've cast 2 perfect actresses for these roles. Why am I going to have them both dye their hair to more closely match the novel? I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And considering we spent the first 45 minutes of this podcast talking just about the story without having to go, wait, what? What happened?
Yeah.
I think Scorsese cared a lot about getting the details of this right.
I think, yeah, it sounds like he did a really good job of committing page to screen.
Yeah, so...
in an accessible way.
So let's get into, I guess, good segue time here, to roll on into who made this thing. And for the last time for a while, directed by Martin Scorsese, who previously to this had done Goodfellas and Cape Fear.
Goodfellas is before this?
Goodfellas was 1990. Cape Fear was 91 or 92.
I keep forgetting how late this is.
This was 93, and then his next film was Casino in 1995.
Interesting.
So this one sticks out like a sore thumb, and we'll get into it a little bit as to why. Written by Martin Scorsese.
Sure.
Which I feel like his writing was just reading the novel and then writing it down.
I was gonna say that, sure, take credit for a woman's work.
Taking the fucking novel format and hitting, transfer to screenplay format in fucking Microsoft Word and then submitting it to the WGA. He had also written the scripts for Goodfellas, Silence, and most recently Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
The other writer was wonderfully named Jay Cox, spelled Cocks.
Perfect.
He also wrote on Scorsese's Last Temptation of Christ, Gangs of New York, and last year's A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic.
That was Scorsese?
No. That was Jay Cox.
Oh, okay.
It was Jay Cox. But he worked with Scorsese on those previous ones. Sorry,
okay.
I'm dumb. Newland Archer was played by Daniel Day-Lewis. There Will Be Blood. He won an Oscar. Lincoln, he won an Oscar. And My Left Foot, say it with me now, he won an Oscar. Ellen Olenska was played by Michelle Pfeiffer, friend of the pod from Stardust and Murder on the Orient Express. 3-timer Michelle Pfeiffer.
Hell yeah.
She was also in Batman Returns. Mae Welland was played by Winona Ryder. You may know her from Heathers, Beetlejuice, and future episode of the pod, Little Women, which I think was her Oscar nom. I only grabbed a couple other actors. Mrs. Mingott was played by Miriam Margolyes. Little Shop of Horrors, James and the Giant Peach. We talked about her there. Mrs. Welland, I grabbed this name because I immediately recognized it. Mrs. Welland was played by Geraldine Chaplin, who was in Dr. Zhivago, Nashville, and the Charlie Chaplin biopic Chaplin, wherein she played Charlie's mother, Hannah. Yes, she is his daughter.
Fair enough.
Charlie Chaplin's kid played her own grandmother, which is...
my own grandma.
Close enough. And Julius Belfort was played by Stuart Wilson, who had an uncredited appearance in 1984.
Sure.
He was also in The Mask of Zorro and Hot Fuzz.
Okay.
So the reason that he wanted to do this was that Scorsese had already shown an interest in wanting to do a romance picture. He didn't want to feel pigeonholed into, gangs of New York and gangs in New York, gangs from New York, gangs near and around New York. All of the Mark treatment openings.
Yep.
So as far back as 1980, he read this novel, Jay Cox, also screenwriter, gave Scorsese this novel and was told, when you do that romantic piece, this one is for you. And 7 years later, Scorsese read the book.
Yep.
But he got to the end of it, and I didn't pull the exact quote, but I'm paraphrasing his words here. He said he got to the end of it, and it hit all the things I like to hit in my movies, but I also didn't go, yeah, that hit all of them. You know what I mean?
It's a subtle.
Yeah. And I guess he just felt the need to adapt this one.
He probably didn't realize because there were multiple women speaking.
Hey. Listen. I think he treats those characters so well. They are more complex than fucking Newland. Newland, the fucking wet fart of a human.
I could step in a puddle of Newland Archer and not get my feet wet.
He's so nothing. But he went into the production wanting to make the film as emotional as the book was for him. I think he actually really appreciated the novel. Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Winona Ryder were his first choices for all three of those characters.
Okay. Just for fun, I looked up their ages. Daniel Day-Lewis was 36, Michelle Pfeiffer was 35, and Winona was 22.
Which is her age in the film. And the whole time I'm like, why are you marrying that child? Just say, hey, child, I'm sorry. We're good. And go marry the hot lady your age. It's Michelle Pfeiffer, bro. Go marry Michelle Pfeiffer.
There is I don't want to call it a joke, but it's like an offhand reference of how Ellen Olenska was never pretty, but now she's almost 30, so her looks have really faded.
While those three were the first choices, there was an alternate for Ellen Olenska, just in case. Julia Roberts.
Oh, God. No. Too young.
Too young, and she doesn't have the fucking menace that Michelle Pfeiffer has. Like, Michelle Pfeiffer can, like... She has a lot of depth in her acting.
I was gonna say Julia Roberts is almost too mean.
In 92?
She has Julia Roberts has that straightforward, blunt, mean girl energy. Michelle Pfeiffer has that, I'm going to slay you with my words and it's gonna take you a minute to realize that I insulted you.
And Michelle Pfeiffer is so much better for that role because of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Julia doesn't have.
Yes.
It's different tack. So you know what we always love and haven't had in quite a while?
Oh my God, do we have an on-set menace? 2 on-set menaces? Yes!
So you may have recognized that I named Daniel Day-Lewis as Newland Archer.
Was he doing his method shit this early?
He checked into the Plaza Hotel as N. Archer and lived there for 2 weeks wearing clothing suitable to the character. This is 1992. Or 91 when they filmed.
At least he's fucking consistent, I guess.
He did not speak to Richard E. Grant the entire time they were shooting because they were, like, intellectual rivals. And on the final day of the shoot, he broke character and apologized. And thanked him for putting up with his bullshit. So, at least he knows what he's doing.
I'm just like cycling through the I've abandoned my boy, I've abandoned my child.
Do you want to guess who the second menace was?
I want to say Winona.
No.
Was it Michelle?
No.
Who else did you name? Was it Martin?
No. Miriam Margolyes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Between takes, because she thought the crew deserved a little treat, she would just give them a little flash of the tit.
Ma'am!
Have some titties, crew! Little treat!
Ma'am, no! That's not how that works!
It's so funny.
Oh!
Because she spends the whole shoot just covered in puppies on her, like, back. Just, like, in a lounger.
Yeah? What a weirdo.
I fucking love it. It took them 12 months to edit this. Again, Thelma Schoonmaker, who we talked about last time.
Yep.
Like, they had to delay release because they're like, this needs some more time in the booth. And paid off. 5 Academy Award nominations. Won 1 for Best Costume Design. I'm gonna butcher this last name. Gabriella Pescucci is the one who got that. And the noms were Supporting Actress for Winona Ryder, Adapted Screenplay, Original Score for Elmer Bernstein, and Best Art Direction for Dante Ferretti and Robert J. Franco. And yeah, this movie is fucking gorgeous.
It even just from the trailer, it looked sumptuous.
Absolutely stunning to look at. Like, they didn't spare an expense at making the fucking sets look as opulent as they looked then. And it's almost claustrophobic. Because, like, does the book go into, like, the describing the walking through the houses?
Yes.
So Scorsese loves him a oneer. One of the early descriptions of walking into the house, it was the opera ball.
Yes.
That night. How you have to go through drawing room. He does a oneer through these drawing rooms that are all opulent and filled with people, and it's cramped going through. And then you get to the ballroom, and then he goes around from character to character introducing the main characters in a oneer, and it's fucking stunning. I just wish I cared about this genre more.
It's like Jane Austen, but sad.
Yeah, I mean, like, I will say after watching this, I'm more open to fucking around with some Jane Austen.
Okay.
I mean, the classic early episode on Pride and Prejudice notwithstanding, I'm willing to dip my toes back in maybe a Sense and Sensibility or an Emma here.
I mean, Emma is my favorite. So.
I did watch that Sense and Sensibility not too long ago. It was long. But,
because you were watching a miniseries and not a fucking movie.
Shut up. No, I was watching the film. It was like 2.5 or 2:45 something. It was,
oh yeah, it would be terrible if you had to watch something over 3 hours.
This was only 2:15, okay? Although that was like Alan Rickman, and was that fucking Winona Ryder?
Probably.
I don't care. I'm not looking that up now. I don't have much else to say about the movie.
Should we talk about Martin? Sum up our feelings about Mr. Scodardi?
So, do you have thoughts on like the content he chooses? Because I have thoughts on him as a filmmaker.
I think Age of Innocence is actually a really interesting one to end on, because while it is still from a male point of view, it is much more female-centric than a lot of his other work. Mm-hmm. But it still manages to encapsulate all of those themes that he likes, which is, you know, toxic masculinity, close-knit, secret societies almost, the violence that's enacted, whether that's literal actual violence or just psychological or the threat of violence. Like, he really loves playing with that. And I think it's interesting to end on this, which appears to be so far removed from all of that. But like you said, as you dig into it, you see all of these things. And I think it's one of those things where you have people that direct movies and then you have directors.
Yeah.
Like, you have a Michael Bay who has a very specific aesthetic and a very specific vibe in his movies. And then you have people like Martin Scorsese and Hayao Miyazaki who you can tell if they've touched a project immediately.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. I know that I wasn't dealing with the Scorsese of it all, but I actually did enjoy this season more than I expected to.
I'm glad. And there's a reason why he's considered one of the great American filmmakers, and why at the very start of this I was shocked that he hadn't done an original film in like 40 years. I think like After Hours was his first original, or his most recent, that wasn't based on a text or a biopic. And I think that's because he knows, like, where his eye is finding the best stories that he knows he can tell well. Because he knows how to tell good stories about toxic masculinity and guilt and the patriarchy. He really should have gone back to this. Well, I guess he did Gangs of New York. But, like, he needed to find stories about the patriarchy that included women. Because if you keep going to the mob, the women are seen by the mob as just on the side. And New York high society, women are barely people. Thank God he picked a novel written by a woman. But, like, it's... Because he has some very interesting things to say about the patriarchy through the settings he chooses to pick stories from. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm curious because I know there's a very prominent Native woman in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
And now I'm a little interested to see how he handles that.
As am I.
I don't know if I'm 2.5 hours interested, but...
I'll watch it one night, and then you can dip in and out when you can play The Sims while I'm watching, and you can pay attention when you want to. That's fine. That's okay. But yeah, going through and just watching his shit for like 2 months now, he really is one of America's best filmmakers. His sense, and this probably comes with working for the same editor for 40 years as well, but his sense of timing, even with these long projects, and the way he'll pick up the pace and lower the pace in the editing room, his attention to detail, and not just detail in the set, but using that to amplify actors' performances. Thinking back to The Irishman, where they changed how they were going to do the digital de-aging to let the actors perform without worrying about it. You know, like the way in The Aviator he would color process it according to the decade that he's talking about. This attention to detail, we notice it in these visual things that he does because it's different, but he definitely puts that in to every aspect of the filmmaking process, like performances. I haven't said a bad word about a single performance from any of these movies that we watched for this. Because he puts in the work. He's a guy who puts in the fucking work. You know what I mean? It's just...
It's that thing where if what you can see is this meticulously detailed, how much detail went into what you can't see.
Exactly. Like how... And I'm sure this information's out. I didn't read any additional texts for this. I like kind of not... I like forming my own opinions before I read truths. That sounds terrible. No, but... So, like, I'm sure the information is out there as to, like, what he's like on set. But it feels like he's great to work with. Because you don't get Daniel Day-Lewis working with you 3-4 times. You don't get De Niro working with you 7 times if you're a shithead. You don't keep these great actors around.
You don't get someone who finally says, oh my god, I will do your fucking movie, just stop calling me.
Joe Pesci came out of retirement to work with Scorsese. Like, so it's... I'm glad we went through this now as his career's, like, winding down. Because we're not going to have many more of his movies left.
I mean, listen, they keep saying that about Miyazaki, and the man keeps coming back to make movies, so...
I know. But if Martin keeps going the way he's going, he's only got 1 4-hour film left in him, and he's halfway through it. Like...
You know the really famous oneer in Goodfellas? Through the restaurant?
Through the back of the restaurant, yeah.
It feels like Scorsese is... the man and the audience is the woman that he's dazzling with that scene. And that's kind of the way that he guides you through filmmaking and his movies.
Yeah. It's the line he said in Quiz Show where they're looking at the money.
It's overwhelming, but you like it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Like, interesting techniques that he uses. He makes movies different from other people. Like, and it didn't click with me growing up when I was first getting into movies in like high school and college, how different he was from a lot of other filmmakers in technique. And I'm realizing now, like, I always loved Edgar Wright because I could see where he was breaking norms. And now watching Scorsese a little bit older and a little bit wiser and a little bit more red, I see that, like, oh, Edgar Wright is doing what Scorsese was doing, just faster. Like, Scorsese was doing stuff. Like, did you catch that in the trailer? Like, it would like fade to red.
Yeah.
That was in the film. That wasn't a trailer thing. He would just do that to, like, hit you with a fucking mood.
I was going to say, I wonder if that's related to... Because in the novel, there's definitely scenes where you're more in his head and scenes where you're more in real life. And I wonder if that was kind of like a visual way to represent what you were expected to see.
Yeah, it wasn't, like, explicit why he was doing it, and... Again, I'm sure there's a reason why written down somewhere. I didn't see it today, so I don't know. But, like, it's still not knowing it moved me. It hit me different. And one thing, like, I learned in theater school that we have to ask is, why is this a play? Why is this a movie? What is he doing with film that he couldn't do in a book? And it's things like that. It's things unique to the medium, weird edits and film tricks and stuff like that. And he doesn't throw them in your face, but he deploys them so smartly that it just nails emotional moments. And he does this throughout all of his filmmaking.
He has an excellent sense of what the medium of film can do. Mm-hmm. And he uses it to tell the same story and evoke the same emotional response, but through the medium of film. And that's something that... the question that you asked, why is this a play? Why is this a movie? I feel like he asks that. And that's why all of his stuff tends to be good in a way that I don't think a lot of other directors are like, oh, I just want to tell this story. Like, not to bring up bad work, but Game of Thrones. The back half of Game of Thrones, and I'm talking like after season 4, that back half is just, oh, we're done playing with this now. They got to what they wanted to do, and they didn't have anything that they wanted to do after it. Scorsese always keeps in mind, I'm not just doing this because it's a cool visual, although it's going to be a cool visual. I'm doing something with the choices I'm making.
It's funny because I just had a thought, because this one specifically was a passion project for him. He wanted to do a romance, and Jay Cox wanted to write this with him. He gave him the novel 13 years before the film came out. There was so much care and love taken into this. And I was thinking back to 2 episodes ago, we did The Color of Money. And I was trying to figure out why I like couldn't immediately think of cool Scorsese things he did in that movie, outside of like the one shot of his reflection in the billiard ball. Like, that's what stuck with me. is because that one wasn't a passion project for him.
That was a make my passion project.
That was a like, let's do something mainstream.
Yeah.
And he still like gave it care. It was still a good movie, but it like, oh man, when he wants to do something, holy shit. And that's kind of where I sit with this movie. Like,
it's not necessarily a genre you would seek out, but you enjoyed this one.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something that generally interests me, because I get mad and I want to yell at the screen, but it's like, it's not proper to yell because of how proper those people are being, right? But in his fucking hands, and this story as well, like, it's so well written. And I mean, like, not just the structure of the story, but the actual words that are said by these characters are so layered, and when they're performed by fucking masters, you get those levels of layer and subtext, like, so clearly. It sung. This movie sung. It was a bit long. It felt longer than The Irishman to me. But yeah, I see. Please don't throw it at me.
362 pages, this version.
Oof.
I think this one might only be 232. Yeah.
Yeah, but you need a microscope.
Yeah, the 96 version, the Barnes & Noble is 232 pages, and the 68 version is 362. So, and yeah, it's fucking dense.
Yeah, I would not have liked reading it. I'm definitely glad I watched the movies. But did you enjoy reading it, at least?
I did. It's very stop-start because of the density. Like, once you get into the rhythm of it, you kind of just keep going, and you have to pull yourself away. But I enjoyed it. I enjoy Edith Wharton. I mean, I fucking love Jane Austen, and this is very similar in vein. It's a lot of snide allusions to people that you don't care about. And it's, all of the density aside, it is still, like, it's a solid story. You get the same vibe from it, like watching a person opening the closet in a horror movie that you know the monster is there. You're like, no, you're making the wrong choice. Why are you doing this? That's the vibe I get, but I don't want to say it's enjoyable to read, watching this man be a fucking idiot for 300 pages, but it's, the tragedy is lyrical.
Yeah.
And I also actually really like Ethan Frome, which is another one of her novels, the one from her that I actually have read before. She really likes doomed love and men making stupid choices.
I mean, I think Ethan Frome was also adapted to a film in 1993.
Probably.
Like, I think I read that somewhere.
Honestly, I would be down to reread that, because that I loved that novel. It's also a lot shorter.
Give me some time. I'm not saying we're going to do a season on Victorian or Edwardian romance, but I'm open to do another eventually.
Fair enough.
Maybe we should do a sequel to Pride and Prejudice, and we'll do the Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh, God. From all that I've heard, that movie is atrocious.
Oh, probably. It's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I'm not expecting quality. It's not fucking Scorsese. Like, come on.
You have any final thoughts on Scorsese, on The Age of Innocence, on any of the other movies that you watched for this season?
No, I think I've said all that I want to say. I think I'm ready to move on from Monster Scorsese. That was awful.
That was atrocious.
My mouth stopped working halfway through that.
So what do you suggest we move on from one of the greatest modern filmmakers?
You know what? I think we go to the opposite side of that same coin.
Full trash?
No, not full trash. Like, Martin Scorsese is a master filmmaker, came up, like, in the 70s, and created his own style, like gritty style and foul language and all that. And there was another filmmaker who also came up in the 70s that developed a different style. We've covered him a few times on the pod in the past. And we figured, since the 4th of July is coming up, in fact, our next episode will be the last episode we release before the 4th of July, why don't we do the 4th of July spectacular classic, Jaws?
Oh God, I forgot! Yes! Sharks eat people. Sharks eat people.
That's right. Just when you thought it was safe to get back in the water, we're talking about Steven Spielberg's 1975 inventor of the modern blockbuster, Jaws.
Wait, I thought Star Wars was the modern blockbuster.
Jaws was 2 years prior. Star Wars was like oh, this is a thing now. But Jaws was like the first blockbuster, which I'm sure we will talk about in depth on the next episode when I can research this.
Da-da, da-da.
Is that the plugs coming?
Yes!
Click the link tree in the description of this podcast to find us on social media. You can also see our high school mixtape on there and our email address where you can send us feedback, suggestions for future episodes of the podcast. All that fun stuff is in the description. But until the next time, the plane has landed, the podcast had ended. It was the guiltiest of times. It was the innocent of ages.
Can't even make a joke about the Gilded Age. Come on.
That's a podcast.
High five.
No.